I recently got my first colonoscopy. Now, I'm not going to get graphic, but we understand that I'm about to talk about a test that goes with a camera into my butt. So if you consider that graphic, this will be graphic. If that's just regular, then we're about to hear a regular story. So I got also an endoscopy because I was having some heartburn that was like debilitating. So I wanted to check out both ends. And I heard about the liquid that you have to drink before, and I heard that it used to be really, really gross. Now it doesn't taste so bad, and it doesn't. It's very strange. It kind of tasted like thick water, and you get to put a little bit of some kind of flavoring in it that you get to pick, and it wasn't bad. But I did have a hard time drinking that much in such a short amount of time. You have to start the night before. And then they tell you you have to be near a bathroom. Is this graphic for people? Is this material graphic? Like, as soon as I say bathroom, does that kind of already shut some people down? But to me, this was good information because I had heard at least like maybe a little bit of it where once it was happening to me, I was like, oh, this is familiar. This is normal. That's right. I was supposed to expect this, so even if I didn't have like all of the steps heard, from start to finish all the time, I still had enough instruction and enough idea. And it's by hearing what happened with other people. So you got to drink this liquid the night before and the morning of. Like, I had to set my alarm to start going because you have to finish a cup or two like within 10 minutes. And then I would get to the end of the cup at the end of the 10 minutes and then I have to start over. So I'm just constantly drinking this thing, I think for 4 hours the night before and then 4 hours in the morning. And then you have to have at least a couple of hours until it's time for your test between drinking it. Also, I wasn't allowed to eat from the night before that. So it had been a little bit over 24 hours. But you are allowed to eat Jello, very specific colors. I chose the green. I love green. I know you're going to come at me with your colors, and I'm happy to hear it, but green is the best. Sorry. However, green Jello without other food actually made me nauseous, if not a little bit. It was starting to come up. Anyway, I had to stop eating Jello, and instead I drank chicken stock. You're allowed to do like clear liquids, and chicken stock was okay. That was actually really helpful. After I don't eat for a while, like, chicken stock starts feeling like food, and it feels nourishing. And if I'm sipping it slowly, it's not affecting me. And so I did that. That was very helpful. But anyway, as soon as the liquid that, it's a prescribed liquid, as soon as that kicks in, they are absolutely correct when they say you better get near a toilet that you have dibs on. A lot of people are sharing bathrooms. So I had dibs, and I don't know how to describe this. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. You go to the bathroom and you're like, what is actually happening? Because that's not what go to the bathroom usually feels like. And it's not a bad feeling or anything. It's just like what is happening over there? But it definitely clears you out. Again, are people comfortable hearing this kind of thing? Because I am. So I'm about to get a little bit more graphic. They also said, don't think that you're farting because most likely you're about to poop. So if you feel like you're going to pass gas, actually go to the bathroom because you're about to go to the bathroom. And that was so true. I wonder how many people poop their pants because they didn't take that seriously. So then I go to the appointment, and I waited 3 hours until I went in. And the problem with that is that I would have timed my food differently then. I would have slept in a little bit, you know. I wouldn't have been concerned about having 3 hours between that last sip of that goop and, well, it wasn't goop, and the time to go. But it is what it is, right? And I'm trying to be a really good patient. They did ask me if when I had my last period, and because it was within the 3 months, they had to take a pregnancy test. And I was like, all right, I guess. And they said, I know. And then they started going into this thing that I think people do without realizing. They go, there's this air of, we know you're 50 and like, how likely is it that you're going to be pregnant? But we have to do it. And I'm like, gotcha. Just I'll go pee on a stick. Everyone relax. But then they went further. They started talking about like, then it turns out this one person took a test and she was pregnant and she was 45. And the thing is, I was like, I thought that regularly happens now. I think we're less likely, but I am somewhat likely, right? But it doesn't matter. They were just so shocked. But the thing is the patient was actually shocked. She didn't think that she can get pregnant, and that must have been so scary. Yikes. And then I think you can't take the procedure, I think. There's got to be a reason why they take that test. Anyway, okay, now it's time. They wheel you in. You're already naked. And it's so vulnerable. It's so vulnerable to know what they're about to do to you. And they're doing both to me. So I got it coming up here from here and from down there. And they're going to look inside of me, then send me the pictures. I mean, it is so bizarre and so incredible that we get to look inside our bodies to, prevent some diseases and some very difficult situations. But the other thing is I started going, okay, they gave me the anesthesia, and I know they didn't. They're like, you're going to feel it, and then you're just not going to, you're going to come back after it's done, after we're done with the procedure. But as I feel it kick in, I start feeling weird. And I'm like, am I supposed to feel this way? And I'm saying this out loud. Am I supposed to feel this way? And the doctor next to me was like, yeah, this is what's happening. And I go, hold my hand. And she held my hand. Okay. In my defense, I am nervous about going under anesthesia because I have something called Myasthenia Gravis, and they told me that I'm allergic to a lot of things, not because of it. And it's not, like shellfish and stuff. It's like 3 pages of stuff that I had never heard of, but one of them means that I can only have one anesthesia versus another. So doctors have told me, when you're having a procedure, when you see a doctor, make sure they all know that you have Myasthenia Gravis so that they can use the proper anesthesia. Unfortunately, I have this in the back of my mind, and now I tell everybody along the way, and I tell so many people, so many doctors, that eventually some of them go like, yes, she told us, we heard. And I'm like, I was told to tell everyone, this anesthesia, I can't mess with that. It scares me. But as I'm going under, because I felt funny, I'm suddenly like, oh, what if they used the wrong one? Yikes. And I yikesed myself, unfortunately. But she did hold my hand, and that did actually make me feel better. It also just made me feel better that I told them that I'm feeling funny, in case that's an indication. I don't know. I know. I got to let it go. I literally am letting it go because they're putting me under either way. So might as well go out nice. Things went well. I came up from anesthesia. I was already in the waiting area for the post-procedure people, which is the same place that I was before the procedure. And I come to crying. And boyfriend is there. And I think there's a doctor there as well. And I think I heard the doctor tell my boyfriend, hey, she's crying, and he goes, yeah, she does that. Because he's so used to me coming out from anesthesia crying. Apparently I do that. And I was crying and I was going, do I have cancer now? Do I have cancer? Will you tell me? And then I started asking if I could put my underwear back on. The answer was no. And soon after, like, you get to eat a little bit. I don't remember what I ate, some sort of like sad cookie or something. I don't know. Maybe orange juice or apple juice. This just happened and I can't remember what drink I had. I guess that's not what I was thinking. But it seemed like everything went well. I think they found a couple polyps that they didn't seem very concerned with, especially since the follow-up was like 2 months later. So I'm like, I guess they're not concerned with what they saw. If, like, I thought I would just get a phone call. I kind of feel like if they don't feel nervous about the information, they can prolong I don't know. But yeah, everything was fine. I did have the follow-up. We're okay. And this, as you're leaving, they go, oh, you could eat anything you want today. Anything you want after this. And I was like, rice, chicken, and broccoli. And the doctor goes, no, anything you want. I was like, yeah, I know. I sound like sad chicken. But he goes, anything you want. Cheesesteak. I'm like, I get it. We're in Philly. Okay, maybe I should just lie and say I'm on my way to cheesesteak no matter what. I'm not into cheesesteaks. Otherwise, yeah, that sounds great. We're also not buying outside food. So rice and chicken is what we make real good. And I happen to like broccoli. Who cares? Anyway, you know what's funny about after? Yeah, I guess it's fun to eat whatever you want, but what is it that you're going to eat? Like, what is so... What's weird is I felt my throat like something was in there. I felt the procedure in my throat the day after. And they said that I was going to do that. But isn't it weird that I didn't feel it in my butt? Is that a weird thing to say out loud? Did you all think it? That's not strange. There's a room full of people digging in on you. It's so weird. You can't think about it. Okay, so that's my colonoscopy, and it's very difficult to say. Colonoscopy/endoscopy. Send this to a friend. Subscribe. Thanks for listening.